Thanks for tuning in to part 2 of this day of touch and goes. As the video begins, I've taxied back after doing several touch and goes in part 1, and I am again taking runway 5 here at the Charlotte Monroe Executive Airport. Today I'm practicing various takeoff and landing techniques. This one will be a short field takeoff. After checking for traffic, I position close to the end of the runway and center up on the runway center line. Holding the brakes, I throttle up. Approaching full power, I release the brakes and let the airplane accelerate down the center line. At VX, or best angle of climb speed, around 70 miles an hour in this airplane, I rotate back and the airplane lifts off. I maintain a pitch attitude that holds the best angle of climb speed. Reaching 50 feet AGL, I lower the nose a bit and flatten out the climb. The aircraft accelerates to a higher, more comfortable climb speed. I am now flying the upwind, climbing to pattern altitude, which is between 800 and 1,000 feet AGL. Because I'm practicing landings and takeoffs, I'll be staying in the traffic pattern and making left traffic. There's the end of the runway down there. It's time to turn left onto the crosswind leg of the traffic pattern. Roll level and reduce power as I reach pattern altitude. Now roll left onto the downwind. And add 10 degrees of flaps. Roll level and slow fly the airplane on the downwind, parallel to the runway, which is visible out the left window. This is a good time to make a radio call on the advisory frequency and let everyone know where I am in the traffic pattern. In a moment, I will be abeam the runway numbers and it will be time to start down. There it is, carb heat on, reduce power, and add another 10 degrees of flaps. Turn on the base leg. I'll be doing a short field landing on this one, my goal being to stop the airplane before reaching the first taxiway, which is 1,400 feet from the runway threshold. Roll level for a moment and assess. Position, altitude, airspeed, and aircraft all look and feel good. So, let's land. Now roll on to final. Add in full flaps. power to idle. Flaps up to dump lift and brake. There's the first taxiway coming up on the left. Stopped with a few feet to spare. Okay, let's do another short field takeoff. Throttle up to full power. At best angle of climb, rotate back and lift off. There's the next taxiway, which is 1,400 feet from our starting point. Clearing the imaginary 50-foot obstacle, flatten the climb slightly and let the airplane accelerate. And let's do it again. Let's jump ahead to the downwind where I'm about to start back down again. Abeam the numbers. Carb heat on. Power reduce. Add another 10 degrees of flaps. Begin turning onto the base leg. This will be another short field landing. A quick assessment of everything, and we're go for landing. Roll on to the final. Add the remainder of the flaps. Power off. Flaps up, brakes apply. That looked good. Okay, now go with a soft field takeoff. Throttle up with a control yoke full back and rock the airplane back onto its main gear, lifting the nose wheel off the ground to reduce drag. When the aircraft lifts off, ease off on the control yoke, flatten out the attitude, and accelerate the airplane within ground effect, then begin climbing normally. Okay, back around for another. I'm back on downwind, just dropped another 10 degrees of flaps, and I am turning onto the base leg of the pattern. This will be another short field landing. Let's see if I can make 3 landings in a row and stop before the first turnoff. Roll level and do a quick assessment. Everything looks good. Some more flaps. Now, full flaps, and turn on to the final. Power off. Flaps up and brake. That looks good. Now the go, and let's do another soft field takeoff. Throttle up to full power while holding the control yoke full back. Rock the airplane back onto the main gear only and hold that attitude. When the airplane lifts off, ease off on the pitch and let the aircraft accelerate in ground effect. Then pitch for best rate of climb speed, or whatever speed is appropriate for the situation. And again. I'm turning on the base leg. Everything looks good. Add in another 10 degrees of flaps and roll on to the final for another short field landing. Flaps up and brake. And we again easily make the turnoff. Nice. Set flaps to 10 degrees. Pull full back on the yoke for another soft field takeoff. Throttle up to full power. Rock back onto the mains and get the nose wheel off the ground. Accelerate in ground effect, and we're airborne and on our way. Then climb speed as needed. One more time around the field for this video. Once again, I'm back on downwind. This time I'll do a short approach and then I'll go around. Carb heat on. Power reduced to idle to simulate a failed engine, and turn toward the end of the runway. I make a continuous turn toward the end of the runway to assure I don't end up short of the airport. My altitude looks good and it appears I will easily make the runway, so I can begin lowering some flaps. I've got the runway made with no problem. Now, time to go around. So, throttle up while raising the nose. Once I see my descent has been arrested and the airplane is beginning to climb, I start slowly bringing up the flaps, about 10 degrees at a time. The aircraft should begin climbing more and more vigorously as the flaps are retracted. Up we go as I fly down the center of the runway. And that will do it for this video and this part of the flight. Watch for part 3. Until then, remember, life is a journey. Enjoy the ride, and thanks for watching.